Hello everyone. I am Lingtao Huang from Zhejiang University. Today I will present our work LimbAug, Enhancing Virtual IMU Generalization in Human Activity Recognition via Learning Limb Movement Difference. IMU sensors are widely used in healthcare, sports monitoring, and wearable computing, and they are an important data source for human activity recognition. However, HAR models require large and diverse labeled datasets. Real-world collection depends on costly motion capture systems and wearable hardware. It also requires labor-intensive segmentation and labeling. More importantly, it is difficult to cover user diversity, such as height, weight, movement habits, and motion style. So the key challenge is not only data volume, it is insufficient intra-class diversity. A natural solution is to synthesize virtual IMU data from 3D human motion. The pipeline is simple. We start with a 3D motion sequence, simulate what body-worn IMU sensors would record, and then use the synthesized signals to train HAR models. This reduces the cost of real data collection, but it also has a hidden bottleneck. The quality of virtual IMU data depends on the diversity of the input 3D motions. If the 3D motions lack intra-class variation, the synthesized IMU data will also be limited. We argue that the real missing part is intra-class diversity, meaning variation among different people performing the same activity. Existing 3D motion data can cover different action classes such as walking, jumping, and waving. But within one action class, people may still move very differently. For example, two people walking may have different arm swings, stride lengths, rhythm, and movement habits. These differences may look subtle, but they strongly affect IMU signals. If virtual data does not capture them, the model faces a virtual to real gap. Prior methods either require large motion libraries, use rule-based modification, or do not explicitly model intra-class diversity. The core idea of LimbAug is to augment limb movement differences in existing 3D motion sequences. We learn limb movement differences which describe local limb level variation within the same action class. Examples include stronger arm swings, shorter steps, or different leg rhythms. These differences can often be reused across actions. Therefore, LimbAug can transfer learned limb differences to existing motion templates, generate more intra-class diverse 3D motions, and synthesize more diverse virtual IMU data. First, we define limb movement difference using human ACT12 dataset. We divide the body into 4 limb groups. For samples within the same subcategory, we compute the mean motion. The deviation of each sample from this mean is defined as its limb movement difference. In short, difference equals sample minus group mean. We use 6D joint rotations in sample to reduce body shape bias. Our generator is a conditional VI with a transformer architecture. During training, the model takes a limb movement difference sequence and a limb label. The encoder maps it into a latent space, and the decoder generates the corresponding difference sequence. During inference, we sample a latent vector and specify a limb label to generate a new limb difference. The key design is conditioning on the limb label, not the action label. This lets the model learn reusable limb variation patterns shared across different activities. Generated differences cannot be directly added to the original motion, because they may introduce jitter or unnatural poses. So we add motion optimization. Temporal smoothing reduces local noise. Diversity preservation keeps useful variation and avoids excessive smoothing. After optimization, we use IMU to synthesize virtual IMU signals from the augmented 3D motions. We also apply domain adaptation to reduce the virtual tutorial gap. The goal is to keep useful limb diversity while removing generation noise. We evaluate whether LimbAug-generated virtual IMU data improves HAR performance on real data. We use two datasets. DIP IMU provides 3D motions synchronized with IMU data. Real World contains only IMU data, so we first generate initial 3D motions using text-to-motion models. We test 3 different HAR models. We compare against a non-augmented baseline and the rule-based ModifiDog method. We evaluate both virtual-only IMU data training and mixed real plus virtual IMU data training. This slide shows virtual-only training results where models are trained only on synthetic data and tested on real IMU data. LimbAug achieves the best results across both datasets and all 3 models. On DIP IMU dataset, Deep Convel-STM model improves from 82.94% to 86.07% and Transformer improves from 72.09% to 76.81%. On real-world dataset, Randomforest model improves from 86.82% to 89.71%. This shows that LimbAug improves the effective diversity of virtual IMU data, not just the amount of data. This slide shows mixed training where real and virtual IMU data are used together. LimbAug still brings clear gains. On DIP IMU dataset, Transformer model improves from 77.32% to 84.2%. On real-world dataset, Randomforest model improves from 77.9% to 91.24%. Deep Convel improves from 79.53% to 87.6%. And Transformer improves from 73.75% to 88.94%. This means LimbAug can serve as an effective supplement to limited real data. This slide visualizes what LimbAug generates. The demo augments the left arm of the motion template, while maintaining the original semantic of the motion, and introduces more diverse limb movements, such as different arm swings and local rhythms. We also visualize virtual IMU sensors on the 3D avatar and observe the resulting sensor signals. The demo shows that LimbAug does not create random perturbations. It generates natural intraclass motion variation, which explains the quantitative improvements. To conclude, LimbAug shifts the focus from collecting more motions to learning limb movement differences between motions. We model limb-level intraclass diversity and use the model to generate movement differences to augment existing 3D motions. Combined with motion optimization and virtual IMU synthesis, LimbAug produces more diverse and realistic virtual sensor IMU from limited motion resources. Experiments on DIP IMU and real-world datasets show consistent HAR model improvements. Limitations remain. Generation length is affected by human ACT12. Gains are smaller on shallow models. And text-to-motion quality matters when real 3D motions are unavailable. That concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.